So, let's give this a try. The Battle of Dangerford, Runequest Book 3 Solo Quest. You can see up here the URL. This is something that apparently is a live version of the game, and we will see how this works. So we can roll down here. This is Vasana's hit points, etc. I have printed off her character sheet. We will have to consult the rules while we're playing, but I think we will manage. Let's get going. Begin the adventure. Welcome to the Battle of Dangerford digital solo quest. This online tool lets you play through the Battle of Dangerford solo adventure digitally. There is no need for dice, paper or pencils, although you can follow along using physical accessories if you wish. The Battle of Dangerford is a solo adventure for Runequest role-playing in Glorantha. It is a story of mythic adventure in Glorantha, Greg Stafford's epic fantasy setting. It is designed to lead you through the basic rules of the game in a gradual and entertaining way. While Runequest adventures will most commonly be run with friends, this one is just for you. To navigate the scenario, readers follow a thread of linking text passages. Their path depends on their choices and their success in skill checks or combat. This online web tool will provide you with all of the information you need to run the game in the links below this box. If you have a copy of the Runequest starter set, you may wish to follow along with as you play. In this scenario, you take the role of Vasana, daughter of Farnan. You can find her character sheet amongst the links below. This formidable hero is a capable warrior, trusted leader, and dedicated initiate of the Orlanth adventurers cult. In this adventure, she has sided with Kalir Starbrow, leader of the Satyrite rebellion against the Lunar Empire. It is Good Day Movement Week Earth season. Kalir is about to lead her troops against the Lunar Empire's war leader Fazur Widered at a critical ford across the strategically important passage of water known simply as the Creek. The sides are evenly matched, and even a single stone could shift the scales. Depending on how Vasana carries herself, she could sway the battle and change the fate of Dragon Pass. Continue. To navigate through the solo adventure, first read the primer sections that follow. They provide a brief introduction to the world of Glorantha, to Dragon Pass, to Vasana, the hero of the story, and to the unique mechanics introduced for this solo scenario. To move through this scenario, read to the end of the passage and follow the instructions at the bottom by clicking on one of the presented links. There are several potential endings to this scenario. The one you get depends on how you navigate the Battle of Dangerford. When you finish your first playthrough, consider coming back to refamiliarize yourself with the game mechanics and to search for different endings and hidden secrets. You will need a copy of Vasana's adventurer's sheet, as well as a copy of Vostor, son of Pygim's adventurer's sheet. He plays a role later in the adventure. Both of these sheets are provided amongst the links below. So we're going to download his as well, or we're just going to keep it over here. Okay, so we're just going to pull him here to the left to my second and then keep going. Begin the adventure. Oh no, continue. Glorantha is a... Okay, we don't really need to... Elves are plants, not animals, and are far stranger than players may be accustomed to. Humans are less technologically advanced. Dwarves are a bizarre, ageless, metal-born creature who toil endlessly to repair the ancient world machine. There are humanoid, death-worshipping ducks. Okay! Rhino-riding nomads, I can get behind those, and 1,000 other secrets. Okay, the humanoid death-worshipping ducks. Okay. In this story, you are Vasana, daughter of Farnan, a loyal Satyrite, a master of battle, and a devoted worshipper of Vinga, an aspect of the god Orlanth. A full biography and description of Vasana is included on her character sheet. You can read through it. We don't need to. The only thing you really need to know about the hero of this story is that Vasana is, above all else, a fierce warrior. She's as skilled with the sword as she is with the lance she uses while riding her bison Molon. Vasana also has a keen eye, represented by a high scan skill, good tactical awareness, represented by a high battle skill, and is a competent leader, represented by a high charisma and a respectable orate skill. Do not worry about remembering the mechanical details for now. These are explained to you throughout the adventure itself. Keep in mind a general understanding of this proud warrioress, and you should be able to navigate the upcoming battle successfully and to help determine the fate of Sarta and potentially of all of Dragon Pass. Okay, now let's see. I'm just going to zoom out a little like this. Taking damage. During the Battle of Dangerford, Vasana will undoubtedly be injured and will undoubtedly injure other people. In Runequest, whenever damage is dealt to a creature, it strikes a specific hit location, such as an arm, head, or wing. The damage is reduced by the armor of the hit location unless otherwise specified. Does she have any armor? Let's check. She does. Damage in Runequest can be incredibly dangerous. The damage is reduced by the armor of the hit location unless otherwise specified, and it is then applied to both the hit location's hit points and to the total hit points of the affected creature. Okay. Damage in Runequest can be incredibly dangerous. It can lead to scars, missing limbs, unconsciousness, and even instant death. For this scenario, the mechanics have been simplified to a few key conditions while still keeping the deadly heart of Runequest combat intact. Unconscious. When Vasana's total hit points are reduced to 1 or 2, she falls unconscious. While unconscious, she's vulnerable to enemy attacks unless someone comes to her aid. She will be swiftly captured or killed. Compromised. If any of Vasana's limbs are reduced to 0 hit points, they are considered compromised. An arm so compromised cannot wield an item, and anything it carried is dropped. If a leg or abdomen is compromised, Vasana drops prone. She cannot do anything else that round. Attacks she makes are at half their normal success chance, and attacks against her increase their success chance by +40. If Vasana's head or chest hit locations are compromised, she immediately falls unconscious. Dead. Okay. Then she's dead. Okay, you can check the yeah, it's like Call of Cthulhu. Okay. The battle result total is a general guide for Vasana's effect on the enormous conflict. A tracker for BRT is included in the tools below. At the end of the scenario, Vasana's BRT will determine the battle's outcome, and she will be rewarded accordingly. Okay. You are Vasana, daughter of Farnan. Until recently, you have lived under the boot of the Lunar Empire. Their cruel occupation of Sarta, your homeland, pained your soul throughout your youth. Yeah, we don't like them. From the relative safety of your mother's farm, you watched as Sarta suffered under lunar occupation. Each year, your father would venture out into the world to support the cause of rebellion. Each year, he would return and regale you with stories of his adventures. One year, when you were on the cusp of adulthood, your father didn't return. He was devoured by the Crimson Bat, a terrifying monster that the Lunar Empire uses to brutally control its subject nations. The Crimson Bat annihilated your father's soul. He will never know the peace of the afterlife. Such a barbarous act ignited a furious hatred within you. You left your mother's farm and lent your strength to the cause of the Saturite rebellion against the foul Lunar Empire. You have fought for this cause throughout your entire adult life. Today, you are trudging through the shallows of the Dangerford, a strategic crossing along the creek. Danger Isle, the creek's only landmass, rises from the water like a spiked tortoise shell before you. Every inch of the island is covered with tents, banners, and warriors, all sworn to Callis Starbrow, leader of the Saturite rebellion. Every battle you fought has been for her and her cause, just like your father before you. The sun has yet to rise and the wind is cold. Heavy grey clouds pollute the sky, and the echoing ululations of the priests of Engizi, the Sky River Titan, fill your ears. The water at your feet stirs in response to their channeled magic, slowly rising like clay to a potter's hand. This magic will deepen the ford and force the lunar infantry to march in knee-high water when they attack. As you walk towards Danger Isle, you cast your eyes across the assembly of tents. You recognize tribal markings from a dozen Dragon Pass clans, but there are also banners from Praxian riders, collections of mercenaries from Esrolia, and a set of ramshackle reed huts made by the ducks of the upland marsh. It's unbelievable. Each one of them knows the importance of this critical passage about the creek, through the creek. Each one of them will fight to the death to defend it. With such a host of warriors assembled, how can the Lunar Empire possibly think they can win? Well, we'll see. You finish your approach to the island and walk through the tents towards the opposite bank. You see the hordes of tents looming on the lunar side and your heart sinks. The Lunars expect the Satirites to bring an army, and they've done the same. You raise your hand to shelter your eyes from the surrounding firelight and scan the opposite bank to take the measure of your enemy. To determine if you can spot anything on the shadowy pre-dawn, you must make a roll against the scan skill, which is 50%. Roll 1d100. How does this work? Do we go in here, put 1? 71. We didn't. We failed. The Lunar Empire's forces clog the shores. Their tents spaced in even columns, but you can make out little else. The sun has not yet risen, and the shadows cling to the camp like ink. Well, that's really nice. And we're on this island. The sun has not yet risen, and shadows cling to the camp like ink. The looming shadow of their tents is a sinister threat you can't wholly evaluate, but that you know will be deadly. The Lunars may have more soldiers and better organization, but you fight with the fury of the gods. Orlanth, the Stormlord, whistles the names of your champions as he skips along the water, and Humach, the god of death, sits beside every Satirite warrior as they whet their blades and don their armor. You walk between your companions, dodging campfires and weaving through rows of cavalry bison. In a few short hours, you will be tested. Every Satirite will have a role to play, yourself included. As a member of the cavalry, you will join the Satirite archers in skirmish as the lunar hoplites advance. Oh my god, they've got hoplites. When they reach the deepest part of the ford, you will fall back to your bison, ready your lance and shield, and charge the exposed lunar flanks amidst a flurry of arrows and magic from both sides. One misstep, and the heavily armored lunar infantry will reach the Satirite ranks, devastating your forces. You cannot allow this to happen. You are shaken, free from contemplation by the first rays of the rising sun. The soldiers around you shift nervously. When the sun is free of the land, the battle will begin, but for now the fog lingers. War waits patiently. You have a short time before dawn fully breaks, and you will not rest. Instead, you look to the camp and prepare for battle. You may now pay your respects to your ancestors and gods, meet with Calla Starbrow, the Satirite leader, tend to your bison mound, ford the river and scout the enemy camp. We're gonna ford the river and scout the enemy camp. I really like this. Oh, look. You stride away from the rows of tents, then clamber down the rocky shores of Danger Island and into the creek. The ritual of the Engizi River priests has already had a visible effect, and the quickly rising water now comes up midway to your thighs. You push through the thick stands of reeds and that dot the island, then lower yourself deep into the water. The current has grown stronger, empowered by the priestly magic. As you push towards the opposite shore, you find the rushing water has deepened further and you are almost swept off your feet. You throw out your arms to keep your balance, then lower yourself completely into the water and begin to swim. Before you make a swim roll, you may attempt to inspire Vasana using her runes. Her attempt to push forward through the deepening current is both a reckless action and a form of passage, making it a perfect representation of Vasana's movement rune. To augment your roll, first roll equal to or under Vasana's movement rune. Her movement rune. That's 75. Okay, I'm actually going to use real dice for this because this is a role-playing game. So I've got a D100 here. And we need to roll a 75 or less. And we roll a 74. Okay. If you roll equal to or under... You get if you roll equal to or under 1/20th, okay, you may, okay. If you roll equal to or under 1/5, if you roll equal to or under your rune, you get a success. You may increase your swim skill by 20% for this scene. Okay, super. So now my swim skill is 35. $68. Haha. If you fail, 27. You begin to swim, but your equipment is too heavy and the current is swift. The water is too dangerous and you quickly abandon the attempt in favor of returning to the camp. There's no sense getting yourself killed by drowning when there's a dozen lunar spears already waiting for you. Before long, you're back amongst the Satellite tents, soaked but alive. The Satellite camp stretches. Pay your respects. I'm gonna look after my bison mount. Oh, he's so cute. You decide to tend to your own affairs and cross the camp towards the makeshift animal pens. As you approach, the howls, whinnies, and smells of a dozen different species greet you. There are many beast riders within the Satellite army, and only some of them ride horses. Bison, llama, zebra, and all manner of animals are ridden throughout Glorantha. Some cultures, including the most skilled riders of all, the Praxian nomads, treat any rider that uses a horse as a mount as polluted. Instead, they ride rhinoceroses, unicorns, impalas, and many other types of beasts. Praxian tribes often name themselves after the creatures they ride. The bison riders, one of the most powerful tribes, has sent troops to fight alongside Kalaya. Your bison is being kept with their beasts. His name is Molon, and he has been with you for many years. He has protected you in battle in the wilds and provided comfort throughout your life. He grumbles to you as you approach. It is good to see a friend amongst the turmoil. Molon chews happily at straw and leans into you as you brush his thick, matted fur. Once you finish tugging the knots free, you procure a small bowl of mashed pigments and paint runes on his side. A bison of unusual motion, Molon shares your affinity for the movement rune, and you join it in flowing patterns with earth and death. Your meditative motions are broken by the crash of splintering wood and a loud peal of laughter. A pair of warriors are leaning against the edge of a nearby pen, laughing at their companion, who has collapsed through the gate and into the muck inside. The trio are visibly drunk, and although the two still standing have the intelligence to quickly stifle their laughter, the collapsed warrior continues to giggle and fixes you with an incredulous stare. Gloranthan runes are mystic archetypes that dominate the world's symbology. For a detailed description, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we don't need this. The two warriors, still standing, slam their closed fists against their chests, a mark of respect. The collapsed drunk flicks mud at you before writhing about in fits of laughter. Warriors like this threaten the discipline and morale of the army. To quell these warriors, make an intimidate roll. If you... Okay... No, I don't intimidate them. You bark a command to the man on the ground, but he giggles in response and sprays you with mud again. As his two companions pull him to his feet, he flicks a rude gesture towards you and stumbles to the gate, drinking from his wineskin. The trio leave, and you return to caring for Molon. You only hope they are not at your side during the battle. The fool will undoubtedly get somebody killed when the battle begins. Modify the BRT by -2. I'm going to pay my respects to my ancestors and the gods. In Glorantha, the gods are all important. There is a vast pantheon of beings that make up the world, and every living creature within it is connected to them. They are the source of all strength and weakness in Glorantha. They both hold the world together and create all the conflict within it. Some gods are worshipped as the patrons of tribes and clans. Others are personal deities and guardian spirits. Although most people are dedicated to a single deity, all the gods are acknowledged and worshipped when appropriate. You, Vazana, worship Orlanth, the storm god. More specifically, you are devoted to the female aspect of Orlanth called Vinga. When Orlanth takes the form of Vinga, she embodies his trademark courage, strength, heroism, and a strong feminine aspect. You and many others find Vinga as the form of Orlanth most deserving of your worship. Vinga desires your worship. She may offer you protection in battle if you pray to her. You head toward the makeshift temples on the edge of the island. You make your way towards the edge of Danger Island and join the procession of worshippers. 2 large shrines have been set up, one to Orlanth and one to Humach. Each is decorated with special fetishes and sacred tokens. Crowds of kneeling supplicants reach forward towards each shrine, placing small fragments of cloth or jewelry upon them. Under their breath, they mutter the names of their ancestors. Your mind drifts to your father Farnan. His spirit is gone, devoured by the crimson bat, but his name and memory remain. If you can stand against the Lunar Empire this day, then you will have honored the name of your father and his memory. As you take in the sight of the assembled worshippers, you are jostled to one side by an enormous Praxian Stormbull cultist. He pushes through the crowd towards the water of the creek behind the shrines and begins to splash it across his body ritualistically. Several other worshippers surround him, cleaning their bodies as a mark of respect. You start to move before you are jostled sideways again. This place is packed with people vying for a chance to give worship. You step forward and gaze at the shrines. You could visit the Shrine of Orlanth, your patron god, to pray for strength, or you could visit the Shrine of Humach, the god of death, for purpose and guidance on the battlefield. You are only a lay member of Humach's cult, though. In Gloranthan worship, it is not uncommon to praise multiple gods, so long as the beings themselves are aligned. Given the nature of the day to come, perhaps Humach would be a more fitting recipient of your praise. Whether or not you ultimately decide to offer worship to the gods today, you can always go to bathe in the waters of the creek and honor your ancestors in that fashion. Well, I've already done that. I'm going to actually pray to the god of death. You make your way towards the Shrine of Humach. It is much quieter here. The worshippers seem more restrained than those of Orlanth, most of them sit in quiet contemplation with their eyes closed. The shrine itself is a simple affair. A sword has been placed into the ground, surrounded by a sweet-smelling incense that overwhelms the senses. A priest pours blood on the sword from a clay bowl. Approaching the Shrine of Humach is like stepping into a bubble. It is as if the sound from the rest of the camp grows quieter upon your approach. Humach is the god of death and war. The worshippers here have an aura of quiet deadliness. Several Humachti sword priests, the most respected worshippers, sit in silence around the shrine itself. Their weapons are close at hand. These fearsome warriors make up the unshakable backbone of a strong Saturite army. Humach is the war god and the master of the death rune. His followers believe that divinity and purity can be found in the denial of the physical world and the senses and the focus on duty and responsibility. You're only a lay member of Humach, but you still respect his example. So I'm going to praise him. You approach the shrine quietly and sit alongside the other worshippers. You close your eyes and begin to recite a set of ancient prayers in your mind. Around you, some worshippers are practicing slow ritual dances. Others chant the words to sacred hymns. Worship can be done through prayer, singing, dancing, meditation, the ritualistic burning of incense, and other practices unique to each individual god. An initiate would make a worship Humach role, but Vazana is only a lay member and does not have this skill. She may attempt to dance, sacrifice something important, or sacrifice magic points. However, Vasana has nothing to hand to sacrifice and needs her magic points for the upcoming battle. Still, though, she could use a blessing. If you choose to sacrifice one or more of Vasana's magic points, mark them off her sheet, and go to 42. How many magic points do we have? 25. I'm going to make a sacrifice. I'm gonna actually remove one and gonna go down to 24. You continue your prayers. You whisper them again and again under your breath until all of the world around you fades away. In the silence, you continue to repeat them. You find blissful peace in the quiet. When at last you feel a sensation return and your mind reawakens, you feel a pang of mild regret. The camp is chaotic around you. Nothing has changed. But you feel like, for the first time, you are truly noticing the frantic energy of so many people so closely packed together. The sights, sounds, and smells are overwhelming. You force yourself to relax and let the pleasant emptiness you found insulate you from the noise. You stand, nod at the other worshippers, and step away. You can feel the presence of Humach observing you as you step away. Increase the BRT by +5. So it's now +3. You turn away from the shrine and gaze out across the assembled worshippers. The creek gurgles away nearby, filled with worshippers offering thanks to their ancestors. I make my way back to the camp because I'm not going to go bathing again. I'm going to leave the camp early and prepare yourself for the battlefield. You pick your way through the tents and soon arrive at the water on the northern edge of the camp. You can see lunar soldiers assembling across on the other side of the narrow ford. The Satellite warriors are beginning to gather as well, but the sun is still rising. Angry soldiers do not arrive all at once. What? They grow and rumble. Oh, like storm clouds. Slowly at first, then in a flood, more warriors arrive. They find their ranks, draw their arrows from quivers, and jab them into the mud where they can be easily accessed. They check their weapons and shake one another's armor to check the straps. You move among them, directing their positioning and overseeing every preparation you can. Finally, the sun comes into full view. Roars and the rattling of swords fill the air. You add your voice to the cacophony. The battle begins. Make a battle roll. $14. If you roll equal to or under 65, increase the BRT by +5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and now we can check it. Oh, I love this. War horns sound on both sides. Satellite and lunar troops alike pull upon their bowstrings and raise their javelins. As is tradition throughout Glorantha, battle begins with an exchange of ranged weapon attacks and magic. Sometimes these minor exchanges are terrifying enough to end a battle early and avoid additional loss of life. Unfortunately, the stakes are too high on both sides. Today, the battle will go much further. This skirmish will only whittle down each side. Your task is to remain in the skirmish as long as possible, firing missiles towards the marching lunar infantry. Once they have advanced into the water, you will break away from the lines to find Molon, your bison, and join the charge. Go to 53. The lunar infantry marches. You stand in line with your fellow warriors. Their presence comforts you. You draw your strength from your faith and in their ability to fight beside you. Today, the Satellarites push back against the lunar empire. Today, your loyalty will be tested. Today, you will win. In Runequest, heroes define themselves through their passions, which reflect their relationships to the world and the factions within it, such as their tribe, family, and friends. Passions can also be used to fuel action. If you wish, Vazana may draw inspiration from her loyalty to Sato, 70% passion to augment one of her skills for the skirmish. Choose a single skill to augment. The inspiration will last for this full scene, so while you may choose any skill, her composite bow skill will be the most useful. Let's do this. Let's roll. And that is a 0-4. Okay. Wow, and she has a 70. If you rolled 14% or under, you achieved a special success and may increase her chosen ability by 30. So her composite bow is now at 75% composite bow. Whoa. Loyalty Sata goes up as well, or it can be checked. Okay. Oh, I rolled a 4 actually, or under, in which case we get a critical success which increases it by 50, which means she is at, sorry, you should always read to the end, 95%. Whoa. The scenario will alert you when Vasana's passion fades. Okay, go to 57. I mean, I have to say I love this already. The lunar horns sound a final time, and the infantry begins striding forward. Their ordered march quickly turns into a graceless wade as they reach the knee-high water. Arrows, magic spells fly around you. The mass of shields and bodies absorbs the missiles one by one. The lunar line is over 100 meters away. It's a difficult shot. You raise your bow and draw the string, feeling your back muscles strain. After a beat, you loose the arrow, which silently flies through the air, twisting in the wind. Due to the increased range, halve Vasana's composite bow skill after readjusting for inspiration if applied, then roll. So now we have half, that's 48. Here goes 36, that's a hit. So we had 36, that's a hit. Then let's do a d20. Sorry, a d20. A d20 is not a d100. We rolled a 19. 19 is a, oh God, 19 is the head. We hit the head. And then what we do is we roll a d8. Oh, max damage, 1d8 plus 1, so 9 points. Finally, if you rolled equal to or under the 20th, 1/5, no. Although equipped to fight in a phalanx, the marching lunar infantry cannot maintain their defensive shield wall while wading through the waters of the creek, so they are unusually exposed to missile fire. They're all wielding shields that protect their left arms and chests. If either of these locations are rolled, reduce the damage by 12. The damage is then reduced by the hit location's armor. In this case, the lunar infantry have 6 points of bronze armor on their chest and 5 points everywhere else. It is difficult to penetrate a shield. If you overwhelm their armor and deal damage, increase BRT by +5. If you reduce the hit points in the affected location, how do I know what the I honestly don't understand this paragraph at all. Okay, we have not gone for the left arm or the chest. We have hit their heads. If either of these locations are rolled, reduce the damage by 12 as the arrow is absorbed. That's not the case. The damage is then... Yeah, okay, that would be possible. They've got 5 points on their head, so we did make damage, and we made 4 points of damage. But I don't know what the hit points in the affected location are. So I don't know if I brought it down to 0. How would I know? Well, her head has 4 points. So if we assume that this is 4 points, then we will just go for +10. Oh, for convenience, use Vostor to represent a sample lunar infantry soldier. Okay, Vostor, you have armor points 5, but they don't have okay, so we rolled 9 points of damage. 5 we reduce, so we have 4 left, so he has still 2 left, so we get +5. If you reduce the hit points in the location by twice their location hit points or more. Okay. Behind the tide of lunar infantry, you see a black cloud of mundane and magic missiles come sailing through the air. Most of the missiles fall short of the Saturite lines, and the wall of shields absorbs the rest. You have another chance to attack. This time, the lunar hoplites are within your bow's effective range. Make a composite bow roll using your full skill, which happens to be 95. 77. And we hit the left leg and we do 8 points of damage. So we have 3 hit points. Before the lunar archers can return fire, a voice howls, "Shields now!" You stow your bow and pull up your medium shield. The hoplites are close as the lunar missiles take flight once more. You retreat. It's now time to mount your bison and charge. Arrows fall around you and the other riders as you retreat. Several of your companions are struck as they stagger forward or collapse entirely. Vasana cannot parry or a ranged attack using her shield, but wielding it protects 2 locations. Choose one other her left shield arm and another location of her choosing, her head. Choose one other location to protect. It can be her right, left leg, abdomen, chest, right arm, or her head. I'm going to choose the head. No, actually, I'm going to choose the abdomen. You dart this way and that, dodging between fallen combatants. Moments before you disappear between the rows of tents, the final volley finds you. 3 arrows fly towards you, each with a 50% chance to hit. Roll 3 times to determine how many arrows hit you. First roll is a 13. The first one hits. Second one on a 51 doesn't. Third one on a 26 does. So I have each roll dealing 1d8 plus 1. Each roll of 10% under or lower is a special success. No, none. Okay, hit location of the first one. Sorry, d20 is a 19. It was the head, so I do get hit on the head, but I've got a 5, and let's see how much damage. 8 plus 9, so that's 4. Oh my god, I have 0 hit points. Okay, okay, let's try the second one. Hopefully this is not the head. It's a 16. That's the left arm, which is protected by the shield. And I roll a 2 damage. Okay, so her shield has how many hit points? 12, so okay, that's 11 then. So she doesn't take any damage, but she's hit in the head. Go to 62. The dull thud of an arrow slams into your body. Well, actually my head. You stumble forward and almost collapse. You grit your teeth. Agony threatens to turn the world black. The effect of the hit locations being overwhelmed varies based on the severity of the... If multiple locations have been reduced to 0 or lower, all the effects apply. She's incapacitated and in critical condition. This also occurs. If this is the case, go to 64. You blink to open your eyes. The tired face of Chalana Arroy and a cultist of Chalana Arroy, pacifists who devote themselves to healing others, blurs into your vision. Two other initiates stand nearby, dressed in white robes with golden sigils. They are muttering to themselves, too softly for you to hear, and their hands are tracing over your body, the runes tattooed on their palms glowing. You feel your strength begin to rapidly return. One initiate pulls you into a sitting position and passes you a bowl of sweet-smelling soup clotted with herbs. You drink deeply and feel the cloud in your mind fade away. The initiates do not linger. You know your duty. You take just another moment to catch your breath. The cultists have cast Heal Body on Vazana. This powerful rune magic fully restores her hit points in all hit locations. It is potent enough that it can even reattach missing limbs. Reduce BRT by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is cool. You weave between the tents towards Molon's pen. The other riders have already departed. Molon huffs at you indignantly as you slide into the stirrups. You urge him forward with a sharp cry and depart the stables, bound for the front lines. This stage of the battle is critical. If the Lunar Hoplites reach the Saturite ranks, it could spell defeat. But if they're caught by a cavalry charge in deep water, then that could swing the day in your favor. Through the remnants of the banished fog, you can see the shapes and patterns of battles on the northern bank of the island. More disturbingly, you can hear it all. Furious roars, the crackling of magic, and the howls of the wounded and the dying. You ride towards the battlefield and your allies. Enough time has now passed for any inspiration or despair Vasana gained during the skirmish to end. Go to 67. You spur Molon forward, heading west towards the river. When you reach the water, he charges on, completely unconcerned by the higher water. Splashing through the reeds, you can see the lunar infantry pushing closer and closer to your archers. A wave of fear rushes through the Saturite ranks, who fire faster and faster, desperate to push the enemy back. But the arrows just clatter harmlessly against the lunar shields. You wheel Molon around and join up with the assembling riders. The Lunar Empire marches forward, seemingly unstoppable. Hot anger flushes your face, and you grit your teeth. It takes every bit of restraint. You have to wait for the horn and not just blindly charge. If you wish, Vasana may draw inspiration from a hate Lunar Empire passion to augment one of her skills for the charge. No, I'm not going to do this because hate is never, ever a good thing to invoke in battle. 71. The infantry marches closer. You are moments away from battle. You measure your breath as you wait, feeling the strength of the runes all around you. You have access to 2 types of magic, spirit and rune magic. When you use spirit magic, you communicate with the spirits that exist throughout the world. To use rune magic, you channel the power of the gods and reconstruct their heroic deeds. Every Gloranthan has access to spirit magic. It's part of life. You have learned your spells from your parents, your tribe's shaman, and your ancestors. Rune magic was taught to you as an initiate of the cult of Orlanth. Adventurers. It tends to be more powerful than spirit magic, but has a higher cost. Where spirit magic consumes magic points, rune magic uses rune points. Not only do you have fewer rune points, 3 rune points compared to 23 total magic points, 23 because we sacrificed 1, but they cannot be recovered without committed sacrifice and prayer. If you want to cast the spirit magic spell Mobility or the Shield rune, I'm going to go with the Shield rune. Molon shifts beneath you, eager to charge forward, but you ease him with a hand and focus on your spells. The battle is raging around Vasana and her time is limited. If you wish, you may attempt to cast a spell twice. After that, you must continue. Vasana's mobility spell doubles the speed of a target and reduces their strike rank by 1 for 2 minutes. Vasana may cast this spell on herself, but since she's riding her mount, Molon is also a viable target. Given that Molon may be slowed by the water of the ford, this seems a good idea. Okay, are we going to... We're going to use... Okay, we're going to shield. $25, yes. And we actually lose one, or we expend one rune point. So we're now down to 2 rune points. And we get +2 magic armor. So now 73. Suddenly the horn sounds behind you. Its deep tone announces the cavalry charge. Molon rears in response, recognizing the sound. You shift yourself reactively, adjusting to his movements, and soon you are charging forward with the cavalry bound for the exposed lunar flank. A bison ride. 10. We succeed. Molon surges towards the enemy line, so we basically get a thing on this, don't we? Yeah. The lunar infantry spot the incoming charge and begin to adjust their positioning, but they're too slow. From the island's eastern shore, you hear war cries as an infantry counterattack led by Kala slams on into the other side of the now trapped and panicked lunars. You may add a check mark, which we just did, and we go to 77. Ooh, nice. Yeah, here we are. They've got Sarisas. Molon crashes into the scrambling lunar infantry with devastating force. Your lance plunges towards them. Make a lance roll. (0.8). The target opposes Vasana's attack by parrying with a large shield. Compare the 2 levels of success. Okay, so we have made a 0.8. And they rolled a 85. They didn't pass at all. We did special damage. 2d10 plus 2. 2d10 plus 2 plus 3d6. Whoa. Okay, that's 8, 16, 21, 26 plus 2 is 28. Okay, so we did hit them because they didn't parry, and we have a 14 for a hit location, and that is the right arm. And there they have 6, and we did like, you know, yeah, we overwhelmed them. We have 13, 15, 20, 20, 23. So we get plus 10 on the BRT. Yeah, actually twice their location. Yeah, then we get plus 15. That was very successful. You smash through the infantry. Molon pushes through the seething mass of soldiers. Most are staggered before you. One particularly vicious Luna manages to strike up at you with his curved Corpus blade. Let's see. He strikes with his Corpus. $45, so that's a hit. And then we roll with the lance, and on a 74 we miss. One d8 plus 1 plus 1d4. That's 7, that's 8. One d20 hit location. 14, that's my right arm. Oh, that's actually dealt to Molon. And Molon... Three, that's then 5. So he's fine. He's 3. He's got 3 hit points left. Out of range from attacks, Molon turns and circles the massed infantry. You take stock of the situation. Some of the cavalry are still stuck in the lunar swarm, struggling to free themselves and mount another charge, but the majority have regrouped in the west and are preparing for another assault. Several riders have dropped their lances and tugged out bows. They strafe the lunar archers on the shores, firing towards them, then riding hard out of range. And a horn sounds from the eastern charge. Kaller's war horn. She needs aid. Seek out Kalia. From your vantage point atop Molon, you see Kalia leap down from her smoky grey mount, one of the finest beasts from her uncle's stables. Kalia draws her sword, throwing the scabbard to the ground, and charges into battle. Make a scan roll. I see nothing. You can't see who Kalia is fighting, but you hear her call for aid. You spur Molon forward and circle around the melee, pushing towards your leader. Let's go to 96. You smash through the ranks of lunar defenders and gallop across the battlefield. Your passage kicks up great showers of water, which might mix with the arrows still raining down from above. You dodge around melees, leap over fallen horses, and finally crash through the last of the lunar ranks and find yourself in the press alongside Kalir. You swing down from Molon and take up a defensive position nearby. The lunar and Saturite infantry clash all around you, and Kalir herself is locked in a duel with a lunar rune lord, Horatio Hostilius, his first cousin to Fazo Widered, and said to command a group of 17 fanatic soldiers devoted to protecting Fazur's person and life. Things are tense, but you know better than to interrupt. Interfering in the duel would dishonor your leader and disgrace you as a cheat. Kalir is tense and focused, looking for an opportunity to strike. Without looking directly at you, she bellows, "Stand by, I have a use for you when I'm finished with this cur." No, I'm gonna obey her. You fall in behind Kalir at the back of the melee and watch. It takes you a few moments to catch your breath. Next to you, the battle between Kalir and Horatio swings one way and then the other. In the middle of one fierce exchange, she takes a long, ugly gash on her forehead. At one point, Kalir misses with a strike and slips sideways. Your heart leaps to your throat, but before Horatio can strike, Kalir dives forward under his blow, then comes up and slashes down his back. He falls to his knees and lets his weapon drop from his hand in surrender. Kalir wipes blood from a cut above her brow and gestures to her warriors who drag the commander away. The lunar lines are wavering, but you can see fresh troops pouring in to provide support. Kalir gestures to you wordlessly, then swings up onto her horse and leads you back towards the camp with her head held high. Kalir's injury reminds the Satirites how much of their hopes hang on a single person. Despite her victory, morale has shaken somewhat, reduced BRT by -5, so I guess I should have actually just sidestepped her authority. Kalir leads you back from the front towards the Saturite tents. She pauses to bark a few orders to reposition her forces, then turns to you. Before she can speak, the sound of hoofbeats echoes from the riverbank. A lunar cavalry charge slams into the Saturite infantry, devastating them. Kalir swears and turns back to you. "Listen to me. We have a reserve of cavalry hidden in Dangerford village. But something has interrupted our order to attack. Go south. There's a signal camp hidden in the cliffs. You must have passed it coming to the isle. Get the messengers to send the alert. Blow the horn yourself if you must." She clasps your forearm, then turns and darts towards the packs of Saturite archers. They draw their weapons as she approaches, then join her in a charge to reinforce the Saturite front line. You are left alone in the middle of the camp. The fate of the battle hangs with you. Okay, I don't have shield anymore. Okay, go to 105. Okay, so now we're going to take a brief break. So, 105. The cries from the battlefield grow louder. There's not much time. You spin about and hurry to the southern side of Danger Isle. The deep water of the Dangerford stretches out serenely before you. You scan the horizon and spot, in the distance, a raised section of wooded cliffs. You know that this halfway point between Danger Isle and Dangerford village hides the hidden signal camp and the all-too-critical cavalry horn. There is no good reason you can think of that the war horn hasn't sounded. A miscommunication seems impossible at such a critical time. More likely, the camp is under attack. Your timely arrival could be critical. You can take off running towards the signal camp. It'll be a long trip, but you can plan your approach on the way. You could head straight for the gate or climb up the cliffs, approaching the signal camp from the rear. If the camp has been overrun, this could let you launch a surprise attack. If Molon wasn't killed or wounded in combat, you can ride towards the signal camp. This will be fast and let you charge any opposition, but it will limit your ability to use stealth. We're gonna ride. The ride to the signal camp will take you only a few minutes. You mount Molon and spur him on his way. With a rumbling growl, he shifts his enormous bulk and you cut through the waters of Dangerford like a knife. Halfway across the creek, you spot movement out of the corner of your eye. It appears a single lunar rider has split away from the group and is moving quickly towards you. You don't know what they're doing so far from the fighting. The rider spots you moving across the creek and moves to intercept you. You don't have time to get caught up in a battle. You urge your bison on and try out to outpace the lunar rider. Okay. You need more light. So let's see. We need to make a ride roll. And on a 65, it's a normal success. And they have a 65, which means that they actually fail. So we have a better success because we pass and they don't. Bit by bit, you edge further and further away from the lunar rider. After a minute or two of hard riding, he sees that the pursuit is hopeless. He wheels his horse around and gallops away, moving back towards the battlefield. You focus back on the path ahead. In the distance, you can see the rising shape of the wooded cliffs jutting out from the ground like a tooth. You know those woods hide the signal camp. You spur Molon forward. Not long now. Oh, look, he's got a crest like that. Looks a lot like the helmet crests of Spartan commanders. Molon trundles forward. You reach the base of the foothills and gallop onwards. The trees blur past to either side as you arrive at the hidden camp. It's a grisly sight. Bodies litter the ground, some hanging halfway out of the sunken embankment. Arrows, spears, and bits of magically thrown debris stick out of the cadavers at odd angles. The corpses are Saratarite and Lunar alike. The warriors here fought like lions. Only one figure is still moving, looking for survivors among his fallen allies. A lunar warrior, armor covered in the blood of his brethren and yours. He stands tall, coppice raised. Clearly, he heard the thundering sound of your bison approaching. He raises his weapon as you pull Molon to a halt. "Stop there, barbarian!" the lunar shouts. He raises a gloved hand. "I am Vostor, son of Pygeem. I have captured this outpost in the name of the Lunar Empire." Have you now, darling? "For wandering here, you have intruded upon the Empire's plans. If you will surrender to me, I will take you prisoner in accordance with our laws. If you refuse, then I challenge you to a duel. Show honor, dismount your bison, give me your name and your answer." You hesitate before... No, she wouldn't hesitate. She would actually just say, "Screw you." This guy is like seriously annoying. There we are. I was actually just looking. For this. Okay. You hesitate before you answer. As dishonorable as it would be, you could just run this lunar down now. A single charge might make all the difference. Honor is actually one very strong suit for her. At 70, but she hates him at 90. And the point is, she will just ride him down. Because it's more important that she wins rather than this whole honor thing. Vostor does not seem surprised as you charge him. Although he may have hoped for an honorable resolution, he raises his shield and readies his coppice as to strike in response. Yeah. Fuck this warrior shit. Molon closes the distance swiftly. Your lance flies towards Vostor. Roll Vazana's lance attack. 95. That's actually a miss. Then he attacks. First, choose to either parry or dodge. We're going to use the lance. So his copis on a 0.7. Oh, that's a very good hit. And we on a 23. So he has 50. So that's a hard success. And her lance is also a hard success. So the those rules around parrying, yeah, I took a brief look at them. So it's a special attack against a special parry. Attacker rolls normal damage, so whatever his lance does. And no, what does his thing? He deals 1d8. Okay, so first of all, we roll damage. That's 2d8. Where's a d8 when you need one? Jesus Christ. Okay, we'll just have to roll a d8 twice. So that's 4, 10, 12. So basically it says here, and then we take the hit points of my lance. I have no idea how many hit points it's got. Oh, there it is. It's got 10 hit points. Any excess damage goes to the affected hit location. So we rolled a 12, so 1 goes to my lance. So that's now at 9. And then I take 11, so let's check the hit location. That's a 1. That's my right leg. So I have 0 points left. Oh. Oh, Molon is hit instead. So Molon... So Molon actually loses his front leg. Okay, so whatever that means. So basically, 163. Molon bellows loudly. He stumbles forward. You are only just able to throw yourself clear of the saddle before you are crushed. You force yourself to your feet and turn back towards Molon. He struggles to rise, but is clearly too hurt to continue the battle. I don't care. Oh, it's him. Oh, sorry. You slap his side, telling him to flee, and he backs away from the carnage. Vostor spins towards you. His face is flushed, red with anger, and his face settles into a sneer. He is ready to continue, and your mount is gone. The Lunar smiles. The duel is level now, or so he thinks. You drop your lance, draw your broadsword, and stride forward. Thank God I'm not... You circle one another, each looking for an opening and opportunity to strike. Every tiny movement could betray the opening that could win the battle. Take a note of this entry. You will return here. Choose any of the following actions to take. You may choose the same action multiple times, but may either attack with your weapon or magic, or not both. We can do 3 of these. So that's number 133. Okay, we're going to attack with our broadsword. Oh, he attacks first. I'm gonna parry. Um, 97, he doesn't hit. So now we attack. On a 0-9, that's a critical success. And he, on a 34, basically just... That's not even a, that's just a normal parry. It's a critical attack versus a normal parry. Okay, so what we're now going to do is so basically now his weapon has 0 hit points now. Okay, let's see. So first of all, inflict max special damage. That's 2d8 plus 2 plus 1d4. That's great. That's 4. That's 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. So his sword, his copis now has 5 points left. Okay. Then I'm going to do this again. So he goes first. I'm gonna parry. It's 96, he misses. I'm going to parry with my broadsword. On a 100, I fumbled. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, we're not gonna do the fumble table now. Great, I take 9 points of damage against my right leg. So that's 1 hit point. So now it's me. I roll a 100. Okay. That's 11, 13, 15 points of damage. Okay, so basically my has now got I believe that I've lost my broadsword. Good, okay, we're not gonna do the fumbling, so now we've got one more time that he can attack us and we can attack him. 82, he misses. And on a 59 we don't parry with our shield. Then we hit back with our axe on a 40. And on a 42, he parries. That's a normal attack. We roll normal damage. And our damage is 1d8 plus 2 plus 1d4. So that's 9, that's 11. And that's on a 14. Against his right arm, where he has 6. 13, that's 7 points of damage. So his right arm is now no longer usable. Yeah, he's no longer able to do anything. You swing, Vostor blocks, Vostor slashes, and you dodge out of the way. You dart around and thrust your weapon forward. There is a loud clang. You wheel about to see you have struck the side of Vostor's helmet. While he tries to regain his footing, you swing again, and the force of your blow sends him tumbling to the ground. He lies there in the twilight of unconsciousness, unable to act. You stagger away and frantically search the camp for the signal horn. You find it, still held in the hands of a dead Sartarite. You take the horn in one hand and clamber up the side of the embankment. Though exhausted, you raise it high and blow into it with all your might. The clear tone reverberates in your ears and carries loudly through the air. You blow for as long as you can. Then, when your breath fails you, you let it drop to the ground. You collapse against the nearby embankment wall and gaze out towards the village. Silence. Just silence. You watch the distant shape of Dangerford village and you wait. A few heart-stopping moments go before you. go by before at last you hear a horn sound in response. Moments later, dark shapes pour out of the village towards the Dangerford. You let yourself sag, relieved. From this position, you watch as the reinforcements sweep into the river and rout the enemy. You see the lunar infantry notice the approaching riders, then frantically turn to resist them, but to no avail. The Sartarite horde smashes into the overexposed lunars and with blood, bronze and fury drives them from the Dangerford. You gaze open-mouthed at the mayhem. When at last the lunar line begins its retreat proper, you stagger from the signal camp and make your way back towards Danger Isle. So this is increased to 43. The battle is over. The sound of clashing metal has faded, and the sounds of wounded soldiers now echo in the air. Although you were only a single warrior on the field, your impact was significant. Calculate the final BRT. If the result is less than 10, go to 195. If it is less than or equal to, so we are greater than 4. Wow. Wow. You have done the gods proud. Your name will echo through the centuries, as will the names of many heroes who took part in the astonishing victory at Dangerford. The Lunar Empire army was smashed apart. They were overextended when the Saturite reinforcements arrived and were caught in the flank moments after Fazur Wide Red called for full retreat. Most of the Lunar army was isolated and cut down in the water. Those who did manage to flee were hunted to the edges of Sartar and survived only by hiding or disguising themselves, shameful displays, tales of which quickly spread through the land. You never returned to Danger Isle. You and the rest of the Sartarite army took over the lunar camp and launched into celebration. That evening, your name was chanted by the warriors, and Kala Starbrow herself gave you a token of her esteem, a red-colored gem with the power to store magic. The Lunar Empire will return, that much is certain, but they will need to be more cautious. They have tasted the bite of the Sartar. Already, legends spread throughout the land like wildfire. The Lunars can be beaten. That night torches dance like fireflies across the Dangerford, while high above the gods look down. They have blessed Sartar, and you, this day. Now, in all the days that follow, you must continue the fight and do them proud. Congratulations, you've reached the end of the Battle of Dangerford. The first step into Glorantha is only the beginning of your journey. After the Battle of Dangerford, Kalia Starbrow and her companions continue on towards Boldholm, where the assembled tribes grant her the title Princess Sartar. Others of the Sartarite army make their way south to Johnstown to fortify against the possibility of a lunar counterattack. What perils face Sartar, the Lunar Empire, and the rest of Glorantha now? This is for you to decide. Those interested in following the story of Vasana can look to the introductory scenario included in the Runequest starter set. This adventure joins Vasana and her companions as they arrive in Johnstown just after the battle. If Vasana is captured, then perhaps a clever game master might give her a chance to organize an escape. Remember that your Glorantha will vary. Whether your journey in Glorantha takes you deeper into Sartar or across the width and breadth of the land, remember you can always return to this adventure to familiarize yourself with the rules, unlock different endings, or find hidden secrets. If Asana survived the battle, you may see if she learned from experience, potentially increasing the abilities and runes she used successfully. May the gods of storm and thunder protect you. Well, I have to say, this is really well done. I like it. I mean, that's an interesting way of teaching the system. It also already shows me one thing that I really hate, and that is this attack and parry results table. While I have no problem parrying, it's like, okay, well, you know, if it's a critical attack versus blah, 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 and then you have to check where does it hit. Sometimes it will take away hit points from the weapon and stuff. I would actually probably, after about 5 sessions, throw up my hands if I even last this long and basically come up with my own version of it. I like the idea that weapons and shields get destroyed. But not always. So I really like that. That's good. Yeah. So but it's It's of course something that does reduce the time, that does increase the time. I suppose that if you know your weapons really well, then of course a lot of these things run more quickly. But I think this online thing, this online solo adventure, I've never seen the likes of this, you know, where you have like an integrated die roller, etc., etc. That's really cool. I really like that. And the fact that it's free. And we have now been playing how long? 1 hour and 26 minutes. That was a lot of entertainment for 1 hour and 26 minutes and no money. I really like that. Well done. Thank you so much, Chaosium. And to all of you, maybe Runequest is for you. Bye.